Final score, Wrexham 3, Coventry 2. Phil Parkinson called it a very Wrexham performance. Yes, it was. That was just terrific. And as I said at the start of the Hot Take podcast, a performance which can stand alongside anything that Wrexham have done under Parkinson. That was a magnificent effort against... Well, effort is not giving it half the credit. Laszlo's disagreeing down here as well with my choice of words, aren't you, boy? Yeah. Because the fact of the matter is, that was just us showing quality, showing real quality. And, we were a bit edgy, weren't we, when we saw we had consecutive games against Middlesbrough and then against Coventry, the top two. They ended up getting 1 point out of us between them, and Middlesbrough were lucky to get that. So, yeah. Let's start enjoying what we're capable of. I mean, after that game, I know we'd played a game more than everyone else but Coventry, but we were 2 points off the playoffs. We're doing all right. I have got to say, and it's always important to understand the context of a match, that I felt before the game, and I've seen nothing in the game to change my mind on this. Coventry, the best team in this division. They play excellent football. Even though we were better than them and deserved to win, let's make no bones about the fact that they showed a lot of quality. They had real goal power. They showed it in getting that goal back late on, and it makes it even more satisfying that you can put in a performance like that and win like that against a high quality side that shows a lot of that quality. Now, we reverted back to a great extent to the side that played against Middlesbrough. Coventry, in the first half, showed a lot of what they offer and certainly had more of the ball in the second half, although we still created more and better chances than them in the first half. So I still would say that we shaded the first half, the second half completely ours. We had the first opportunity, a great cross by Kakache from the left-hand side, which Kitching made a poor contact with. It dropped for Windass just beyond the penalty spot with a chance to shoot, but the ball was bouncing behind him. He always had to be retreating and then trying to somehow scoop his foot around it to get the shot off. In those circumstances, it's impossible not to hurry a shot, and he couldn't keep it down. But it was a warning message for Coventry, because we were causing issues down the flanks. Kabore and Kakache were really doing well, getting up the pitch and stretching Coventry. More, of course, as we'll get to, would play a significant role, let's be honest. But like I said, Coventry have got class all the way through their side and a real goal threat, and 2 minutes later they went close. Grimes with a great corner to the near post, and this time Kitching at the other end, getting up really well. Glancing header from about 8 yards out across the face of Conquad. No chance, went just wide of the far post, and they'd given us warning of their intent. But we were straight back at them within a minute. Oh, we could easily have been ahead. It's a fabulous pass by Windass, and suddenly O'Brien, having seen this beautifully weighted pass, just split two defenders perfectly. They both go for it, neither can get it. Finds himself one-on-one with the keeper in the right channel with a bit of time. It's screaming for either a first or second touch finish, but O'Brien takes a touch inside onto his stronger left foot, and things start to close in on him, and he just hesitates, and the Coventry defence swarm around him, and it ends up with him not even getting a shot off. Really frustrating for him. He had an excellent game, but yeah, he'll have been so frustrated that he wasn't able to take that opportunity. Wrexham kept pushing on though. A corner is swept into a crowded 6-yard box. Rushworth, the keeper, comes, can't hang on to it properly, and Hyam back to goal. The ball again going away from goal. Does what he can, which is just improvise a quick hook back over his shoulder into the goal mouth. It's on target, but it's a crowded area, and it's a Coventry head that gets to it first. If a Wrexham player got to it first, it would have been a goal. But we are starting to get the crowd really involved in the game. We're asking questions of Coventry's defence, and we are occasionally getting tested, but pretty much keeping them at arm's length. Grimes has a next effort as well, a 25-yard free kick, and it's a good one. Really ripped over the wall, aiming for the bottom right corner. It skims just wide. Got to be said, Okonkwo has it covered. He's got down really quickly across the ball, or behind the ball, should I say, and has it covered. And that is the opening of a dramatic 3-minute period which sees Coventry take the lead, because within a minute it's Wrexham bursting forwards, James playing a great ball for Windass, who pulls it back, takes a little bit of a deflection and falls for O'Brien, who's again taking up a really good position about 15 yards out. He hits it first time, this time the direction the cross has come from. Rushworth's weight is taking him to his right. Suddenly the ball is heading on target to his left. It's a fantastic save, sticking his left foot out and somehow managing to block it. It looked like it was past him. It's a top level save by a goalkeeper who, by all accounts, may well be in Thomas Tuchel's next England squad. It's brilliant, and even more so when shortly afterwards, out of nothing really, Coventry take the lead. I mean, I say out of nothing, it's out of quality. Sakamoto on the right is all left foot. He's quite predictable with what he looks to do, but it's one thing knowing what he's going to do, it's another thing stopping him. And he was doing really well, driving at pace forwards and looking like he could go around the outside, and then 99% of the time cutting back on his left to do something with it. This actually was from deeper. It's a fabulous pass by him, lifting it from midfield on the right-hand side over Wrexham's defence. There's just a slightly ragged line at the back, and Kabore's not quite been able to get around goal side, or at least goal side-ish, of Mason Clark. So Mason Clark finds him running on his own into the box on the left channel, but he's still got a lot to do because the ball's dropping from a height and having been hit from a distance. It is not an easy finish. Okonkwo comes out as well to narrow the angle. Mason Clark, it's a brilliant finish. It just bounces as well to make it even more difficult, because now there's the possibility that as he's hitting it on the rise, he might just put it over the bar, but he controls it on the stretch really well and slots it past the Okonkwo. And again, you then think, okay, yeah, so this is the quality of Coventry, isn't it? They're top of the league. They are so full of goals, nearly averaging 3 goals a game after 12 matches in the Championship. Pretty tasty. And quite frankly, yeah, that's the danger, isn't it? You can get on top of them, but if you're not clinical at their end, they will punish you, and they do. And Wrexham, to be fair, up it another level, I think, and do very well for the remainder of the half. But Coventry keep us at arm's length. And let's be honest here, I've only mentioned 3 Coventry chances, and apart from the goal, the other 2 are off-target shots from outside the box. Well struck, but they're outside the area. We're keeping them at arm's length. Coventry start to deal with us a bit better, even though we're getting them into a lot of pressure. Sheaf and James are running the middle of the pitch. O'Brien's movement in support of more Windass's intelligent passing, like I said, the width of the wing-backs is really causing issues, but Coventry are able to dig in until the closing minutes of the half when the chances do start to come. Starts off with a really nice pass by Sheaf to pick out Kabore. He whips a good ball in first time, and it falls eventually to Kakache on the left side of the box. Not the easiest shot to try and take on, as it's bouncing up at him. He tries to swing a foot at it and can't keep it down. Then there's another nice move which is capped off by a lovely ball around the corner by Windass to pick out O'Brien, whose first touch is decisive, and he drills a powerful shot from 25 yards out, but it's too straight and Rushworth holds on to it. Before, with 3 minutes left, we have a big moment. Matty James again, doing his best Andrea Pirlo impersonation from deep, lifting a fabulous ball over the top. Moore has timed his run brilliantly. He's one-on-one with Rushworth, but the ball is dropping from a height, a bit like the Coventry goal. It's not an easy one to take. If he can take it, he's right in there. And unfortunately, he just flicks his knee as he's stretching in front of him to bring it down, and it bounces away from him. Unlucky for Wrexham. But we go in to the applause of the fans. In contrast to the Cardiff game, this Wrexham side has really laid down a marker that this is a different night at the Stoke Kairos, and we come out for the second half, all guns blazing. From the very start of the second half, our intensity is terrific, the pace of our play is terrific, but also The way we knocked that ball around, the amount of quick one-touch football in tight areas, the quality of our play. Windass, O'Brien, Sheaf and James, really notable in this, is impressive. Kabore starts to get a lot more change out of the Coventry defence. To the extent, in the end, that Bidwell, a left-back, will be removed. And Wrexham starts asking difficult questions. We nearly get a sensational equaliser 5 minutes into the half when Kabore, again, does well down the right, pulls it back in. Cleworth looks like he's going to play a return pass, receiving it on the corner of the box, and then decides, no, I'll turn in, cuts inside, it opens up for him a little bit, and he absolutely nails a shot across the keeper. It's whistling towards goal, and it just flies about 6 inches wide of the far post. A fabulous hit by him. There's some argy-bargy then with Moore up against Kitching. Weird. I find this quite difficult to explain in some ways, this, in that it's the sort of stuff, starts off with a penalty shout, which is the sort of thing that I think anyone in football is going to say, well, it's not a penalty. And they don't get given. I can see that. But when you actually try to explain it, it's difficult to explain why it's not a penalty. I mean, basically, as plenty of teams do when they're intimidated by Moore's ability in the air, rather than cut her off at the source, they decide one of the centre-backs to grab hold of him, pull him away from the danger area, stop him getting there. At least that's an obstruction, surely. And yet refs don't tend to give it, and most people in football would tend to say, yeah, just ignore it. It's off the ball. I don't think that logic totally stands up if you think about it. If I punch somebody in the face and break their jaw, is it okay because I'm off the ball? No, I'd get sent off. But anyway, Kitching does this. He grabs hold of Moore. Moore, I think, quite cleverly decides, okay, well, if the ref is going to see this, I'm not touching him. I'm going to, obviously often it's 6 on one, half a dozen on the other. He throws his hands down to say, look, this guy's manhandling me. Weirdly, Kitching just ignores the ball completely and carries on for quite a long time after the cross has come in and been cleared, and he just keeps running more across the penalty area with his arms around him. It's really blatant, and I'd love to know what the referee was thinking. I don't mean in a critical way, I thought he did well, the ref, but just curious when he watches it and it's still going on, and now it's clearly one person doing it. Is he just thinking, okay, that's not allowed, but it's off the ball, I'll ignore it? What is he actually thinking? Anyway, that happens. Within a minute, they're both booked because it happens again, and it looks like, from looking at the replays, it was way off the ball, and this time not in the box. Kitching just seems to think, oh, I've just got to try and get in Moore's head again, and runs up behind him and just grips him. And this time Moore, I think, thinks, well, okay, we're outside the box. Stuff this. I'm not trying to win a penalty. We're miles off the ball. I'll engage. And, I think Kitching shouldn't really pick a fight with Moore because he's massive. And so Moore does quite a nice little judo throw on him, and Kitching ends up on the floor, sort of flailing his leg up a bit naively towards Moore. They both get booked. I get that. Both sets of fans are asking for a red card. I get that. I think the really important thing about all that is it just showed that even at that point, Coventry were really rattled by Moore. They knew they had to try and do things to stop him getting on the end of stuff. They were concerned by him, and they had a good reason to be, because within 5 minutes he's equalised, and within half an hour he's got a hat-trick. Before then, Coventry do have a good chance on the breakaway. Sheaf loses the ball high up in the pitch, and Mason Clark, who is by far the most effective of Coventry's really much vaunted trio of attacking goal-scoring players, surges forwards really well, finds Haji Wright, second top scorer in the division, but he hits a shot which is well struck from the left channel just around the edge of the area, but goes just wide of the far post. And again, to be fair, I mean, we're right behind this one. Conquo's got it covered comfortably. As he scrambles across, he leaves it. He knows that he could reach it if he wanted to. Again, another indication of how this game is going is that Wright, second top scorer in the division, and Brandon Thomas Asante, first top scorer in the division, who you'll have noticed I've not mentioned yet because he's just not in the game, will both be subbed quite early on in the second half. Middlesbrough make 4 changes at half time because we go to the second place team, and by half time they realise that they're in trouble, And now here we have Lampard making actually 4 quite early changes in this half because he can see the writings on the wall. In fact, he says afterwards, rather colourfully on Sky, that during the first half he could smell it coming. He knew that Wrexham were going to get at them. And so he has to make changes. And that's quite the compliment, isn't it, to do that to the top 2. But anyway, we keep pushing on hard. It's another chance when Moore just brilliantly dropping deep into his own half on the left-hand side, winning it back and pinging a great long ball forwards. Windass knocks it on intelligently with his head. Windass, between the lines, was just absolute quicksilver. He was brilliant. He touches it down. O'Brien, for a moment, is running one-on-one because Wolfenden, the last defender, has just lost his balance a bit, and O'Brien shifting it from one foot to the other looks to have gone past him, and he's going to have a shot at goal right down the middle. Wolfenden recovers brilliantly to double back and get a foot in, a last gasp tackle to stop O'Brien from scoring. But it's a temporary reprieve because 4 minutes later on the hour, Wrexham are ahead. And again, it's quality from Windass, from Kabore, from Moore. Kabore bursting down the right-hand side, feeding the ball down the right flank. It's a good ball. Windass and Moore are making good runs into the channels. It's the first of 2 tight but correct onside calls. Windass is just onside, bursts into the box, plays it early across the face. Moore has gone offside earlier in the move, which is giving the centre-backs a problem because they're not quite sure where he is on their blind side. It's really intelligent. He retreats and he's just onside when Windass whips it in, and he's unmarked in the middle. It looks like an easy finish. It absolutely is not. He's 10 yards out. It's still in front of him. He's got to stretch for it, and he opts to let it come on to the outside of his right foot, and he more guides it than anything. He used to pace on the ball and guides it with the outside of his foot into the roof of the net. Rushworth gets fairly close to making what would have been an unbelievable save, but he can't. And Wrexham have equalised, and we continue to pound away. The crowd is making terrific noise. Like I said, the wing-backs are tearing into the box, as is O'Brien, and we get the second goal. Well, because O'Brien, as he's been doing all game, hassles players and forces a mistake. Kabore wins a throw-in, takes it quickly to Windass, who spins and just puts a lovely ball into the far post. Kakache, when you look at it again, has come very narrow. He's virtually like an attacking midfielder standing on the edge of the D, rather than what you'd expect, coming in to attack the far post. And that has dragged his marker, Kesler Hayden, with him, which means there's nobody covering on the blind side behind Kitching, who seems to, of Wolfenden, who seems to assume there will be a right back there, but there's no one there. And he does have a little glance to see that Moore is on his blind side on his shoulder, but doesn't do anything because he obviously hasn't turned his scanned around enough to see that his fullback's not covering him. And Moore just steps off intelligently. He has space at the far post. Windass puts it on perfectly to his head, and it's just a lovely controlled header. Just places it inside the post, and Rushworth can't get across in time, and Wrexham deservedly are ahead. Our game management is good. We continue to be a threat without overextending ourselves, and Coventry are making changes and it's not really working. Victor Torp looks quite lively when he comes on, but Wrexham are dropping off quite quickly into that mid-block, and Coventry are finding it as difficult as Middlesbrough did to get through that and into our penalty area. Dobson comes on for Sheaf with 17 minutes left. Inevitably, Sheaf was building up fitness before he got his most recent minor injury, which kept him out of a couple of games, so Sheaf had to come off at some point. Dobson will be typically ferocious in midfield, battling for second balls. Perfect player to bring on in that situation. We keep him at arm's length, and then with 7 minutes late, we strike again, and this is excellent work by Kakache, who chases back after initially getting across him, which is clears. He just superbly runs Sakamoto to ground. Great strength by him, wins it from Sakamoto, and then feeds it up the line. Windass, again, perfection. Beautifully weighted pass in behind the defence. Moore runs onto it. It's a tight angle, but it's a confident finish, drilling it across Rushworth into the far bottom corner. Moore has a hat-trick. First hat-trick by a Wrexham player since Mullin in March 2024. First hat-trick by a Welsh player since Jordan Davis at Halifax. Remember that? What was that, 21, I think? And the first hat-trick by a Welsh player at the racecourse since Mark Williams against Eastbourne, 2008. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant performance by him. 5 minutes left, Sam Smith comes on for Josh Windass, who has been, as always, taking a bit of a kicking. I'm not criticising Coventry, they weren't dirty at all, but he just always seems to be picking up knocks. But he picks himself up and goes again. Smith comes on and he occupies Coventry well. And in fact, Wrexham and Moore look for a fourth when Kitching makes a horrible pass, squaring it straight to Moore, who carries it forwards. He does have Smith in support, but if you're playing like Moore is, you hit it, don't you? And he hits it really well from 25 yards, too straight, and good hands by Rushworth to hold on to it. A minute later, it's 3-2, and you're thinking, oh, surely we've got to win this game, haven't we? It's great work by Sakamoto, who has played really well on the right-hand side. De Silva, the Welsh international left-backs come on, and he carries it forwards. He pulls it back to the edge of the area. Torp does well. He sidesteps Matty James. Looks like he's going to get a shot off. James, I think, fouls him. I don't know if the ref plays advantage. It just hasn't got time to blow his whistle because the ball falls to Sakamoto on the edge of the D and he rips an excellent finish with his right foot inside the right post. Okonkwo lunging for it, can't reach it. Great goal by Sakamoto. And the ref signals 5 minutes, which felt a bit on the generous side for Coventry. And you think, okay, got to hold on here. Well, we hold on comfortably. We play out the added time comfortably, and the crowd rise. A superb performance. Thomason comes late on for the terrific James, a minute into the 90, and we close it out nicely. And it's a very well-deserved performance. And I can only conclude by reiterating what I said at the start. Coventry are class. Coventry showed class. Coventry did not know when they were beaten and always had a goal threat. I've yet to see anything to make me think they won't win the league this season. But we really deserved that. But they were flattered by the 3-2, and that says something about us. And I'm not inclined to look at it as a sort of one-off result. I'm more inclined to look at it as an inevitable continuation of what we've been doing all season. It was quite amusing, you know, the media get their own agendas and just stick to them all the time. And constantly the question from Sky was, does this kickstart your season? I don't think it was all that similar to the quality we've shown throughout the season. Point to me a team who really looked much better than us when we played against them, and you know, you've seen that game differently from how I have. We've been competitive and good in every game this season, and this was us with a really well set up game plan, taking on the best team in the championship and dominating them. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. So yeah, quite happy with that. With the final score of Wrexham 3, Coventry City 2, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.